It's catchy and stupid, and I like it. That's basically my wheelhouse.
I was
you know
going to
that.
say, it sounds just like you.
Hello and welcome to Book Retorts. I'm Sam.
I'm Danielle.
And this is the podcast about sharing your weird media finds with your friends.
I'm the friend.
Well, you are for at least today, Danielle.
I hope tomorrow as well.
Well, let's not put all our eggs in one basket. Let's wait to see what tomorrow brings.
20 years of friendship down the drain.
Well, it really depends on what I share today, doesn't it?
Yes, actually.
Well, boy, have I got something special for you today, Danielle. I have the 1997 film Warriors of Virtue.
Warriors of Virtue.
You have not heard of this movie?
Don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It did terribly at the box office.
Aw, poor Virtue Warriors.
I gotta give you a little background on this film because it's kind of hilarious. So, quoting from Wikipedia, the source of all knowledge in the universe.
At least our knowledge.
I trust on pop culture stuff pretty well.
That's fair.
Not much else. So, the film was based on a series of characters created by the Chinese-American Law brothers, four siblings who worked as physicians and had no prior filmking experience.
Oh, okay.
So, they put in something like the bulk of the $35 million budget.
Where did they get from their doctoring? Like a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. It was directed by a Hong Kong filmmaker, Ronnie Yu, in his first American English language directorial debut.
Okay.
Yeah. And I saw this movie in theaters when I was, 8, something like that, 7, 8, 9. I can do the math, I don't care. And I gotta say, I felt a deep connection to this movie when I was that age. Like, I saw it in the theater and it, resonated with me in some way. They got a free poster at the movie theater I put up on my door. Never saw the movie again since then. And until I watched it again the other day, I could not tell you a single thing about this movie aside from 2 scenes. But apparently I was just at the right age to have an emotional connection to this flop of a film because it made something like $6 million box office.
Oh, that's sad.
And maybe $7 million in home movie. So it did very poorly.
Yeah, somebody that it resonated with didn't even get it on home video.
I did not because I'm like, I saw it. That's really cool. It just never struck me as needing to see it ever again.
So I need to know, Sam, did this hold up when you watched it as an adult?
We'll get to that.
Do you have a deep emotional connection still with this movie?
The short answer is, what I've learned from this experience is that kids are dumb. And we don't know what we like and why we like what we like. At least I was a dumb kid. I was going to leave that there.
This podcast ruined movies for you?
Some of the ones that I've rewatched for here, I've been like, no, wow, I really don't know why I liked that so much as a child.
Bummer.
That's okay. It was still a lot of fun. So I want to also mention that the version I found was not widescreen. It was a DVD copy that was, the 4:3 ratio. So it wasn't the widescreen you'd see in the theater. And I don't know if some of the visual problems I have with the movie came from its bad conversion to this DVD or if it really looked that blurry in theaters. But I'm going to put that up there. Things looked really blurry a lot in this movie. And I don't know if that was something that was just a factor of the media I was watching.
Is that going to impact some of your story when you're trying to explain things to me, but you can't tell what was going on because it was blurry?
I'm going to talk about the fight scenes and fight choreography. Yes.
Sounds promising.
All right. So let me say the description. I had 2. I chose the one that was blander, but gave less away.
Okay. Lame in one leg, Ryan Jeffers, Mario Yedidia, has few friends in his high school and spends most of his time with Chinese restaurant chef Ming, Dennis Dunn, who gives him the Book of Tao. When he is goaded by the football team into a dangerous ceremony, Ryan falls into a whirlpool, and emerges in the magical land of Tao. His leg fully healed, he is led to Master Chung, Chao Li Chi, whose heroic warriors battle against greedy Lord Komodo, Angus Macfadyen. Ryan joins their fight. That's the dumbest ending phrase.
Well, you can thank Rotten Tomatoes for that one. A couple of things I want to mention out of that because there's a lot there.
Oh, there's
we
so
never
much
see his
there.
high school, just to be clear.
But like half of the summaries at the high school.
It's not at the high school, Danielle. It's not there. 2, they say Tao, not Dao, and I'm not here to have a linguistic argument with the Chinese creators of this movie, so I'm just going to call it Tao like they do in this summary.
Sure. Would you like me to reread the summary, Sam?
No, I'm just letting you know. I mean, I'm not an authority on this, and there's a lot of Taoist philosophy in this movie, which I'm also not an authority on, so I'm just going to relate as best I can, and if it's wrong, I'm sorry.
This is a whirlpool. Okay.
What's with the whirlpool, Danielle?
Let's do this.
All right. Well, you're going to love this movie. It opens with a narration. There's some blue background and a shadowy figure, and he's dropping some prayer beads that are scattered when the string breaks for them. And he's saying, I remember a world with no wars, no warriors. All that has changed now. Now I see a dying land, and the enemy goes strong. Is there someone with the courage to step forward? But I fear for him as I fear for us.
Is the person with the ability to step forward Ryan Jeffers?
Oh, apparently it is. So then the title screen comes up, Warriors of Virtue, and it looks like something you'd make in, iMovie. So $35 million well spent.
So much money. What year was this?
97.
That's a lot of money in 97.
And I think, again, reading Wikipedia, I think when they got MGM to distribute it, they put $20 million into marketing, which did not pay off.
That's unfortunate because this plot sounds amazing.
Oh boy, you're going to love where this goes. So we cut to an upscale suburb. A mother is leaving the house. She's saying goodbye to her son, Ryan. And then we cut to Ryan, who is 13-ish, maybe 14. I don't know. He is reading comics. Looks like martial arts comics. And there are all these like sound effects as he's reading, and the panels come up on screen like, hua, ching, wah, like all the like sword sounds and martial arts sounds. And he's just going, yeah, as he's reading the comics. And he's in the bathroom for some reason, just sitting on the toilet, but the toilet seat is down. And
it's
he's not
this
like
quiet place, Sam. That's where you go when you need private time.
But my point is, his mom's leaving, he's alone in the house, and yet he's sitting in the bathroom to avoid the people who aren't there?
Well, his mom was there previously until she left.
Okay,
He's just planning ahead.
You got me there. This movie cuts a lot. There are going to be just a lot of really quick scenes back to back with very little context. So I'm just going to go with it, Danielle.
Okay, I'm on board. Let's do it.
So now it cuts this whole scene of like a martial arts cooking. So there's this guy like doing martial arts in the kitchen. Like if you saw the Jackie Chan movie where he did that, it's kind of like that, only cheaper.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, cracking eggs into a wok from across the room and like throwing rice over his shoulder into the thing and making a stir fry. It's pretty cool. I mean, I love that show, but it's just in a regular kitchen with nobody watching. Like they're all the regular chefs there. It's not like it's at like a Benihana for anybody. It's just like he's just not going to cook in the most extravagant and unnecessarily complex way possible.
Maybe he's practicing his craft, Sam.
Very possible. And then we see Ryan is sitting on the stairs that lead down into this kitchen, just watching. So he's apparently a regular looker on in this professional kitchen because the chef just hucks a load of fried rice into a bowl he's holding. He's like, Ryan, on your left. And he just throws over his shoulder, and Ryan just produces a bowl somewhere and catches all this fried rice in it.
That's not how any of that works, but okay.
It does in this movie, Danielle. So then the chef comes over and sits down with him and is like, hey, let me tell you about the real Kung Fu masters. And Ryan's like, oh, yeah, cool. I'm like, aren't you a chef? Don't you have a job to do? Don't you have like orders going out?
Maybe it's between services.
It's not. It's a very busy kitchen.
Oh, I don't know, Sam.
And so he talks about how there's these other Kung Fu masters in another world. They don't use weapons, but master over natural elements. The elements of wood, metal, fire, earth, and water. So, the 4 natural elements. Or 5, I should say. Wow.
But there's a 5th one.
Yeah, no, I lost count, Danielle, because I'm so used to 4 elements, which is just my, I guess, Western bias.
This is the second movie in a row that we have with elemental powers.
Well, this one doesn't use your standard air, earth, wind, fire thing. I said wind twice. Whatever. Water's in there somewhere. Point is, metal's in there with wood. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So he goes on for some time talking about, there are these Kung Fu masters. They're super cool. And then the owner of the restaurant comes in and like yells at him to get back to work because why are you standing there doing nothing? Because everyone in the restaurant just pauses to listen to him talk in the kitchen. Like all the other chefs just stop what they're doing to listen go on about this Kung Fu martial art people.
Everybody's in the restaurant like, where's my food?
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe he's hucking it through the door into their bowls in the kitchen
Sure.
in the dining room.
You might just be like, that's just to catch your own food restaurant.
That's so cool. I would love that. I would go to that restaurant, Danielle. All right, so now we cut to Ryan. He's going towards a high school football game, it looks like, but it's like the cheapest high school football game. Like it's just out in a park, not like an actual stadium. There's like 2 bleachers and there's the red team and the blue team.
Okay. Go red team!
Well, right choice, because the red team, as it's called, they call a timeout, they're losing, and Ryan is their water boy. And so they all huddle up, and the coach gives them a play. He's like, do this. He's like, cut left or something, whatever. I don't remember what he says. And the guy's like, no, the other guy's been tackling me all day. I can't do that. He's like, just do it. I've played football a few times. He walks off. And then Ryan passes out some water. He goes up to QB, whose name is Brad, because obviously.
I mean, aren't all QBs named Brad?
As far as I know, yes.
I think it's a requirement.
And he says to him, their tackle comes rushing in on every play. So if you bootleg left and fake to Toby, you'll have a clear path to the end zone. And I still don't know what's happening in this movie or what's going on or why this boy is talking football to a quarterback.
Because Sam is anti-sports, so he doesn't understand sports. Sports
No,
ball.
I'm not anti-sports. I understand sports pretty well. I'm not sure this movie understands sports. I'm not sure that the water boy giving plays to the quarterback against the wish of the coach is how sports works.
It's not how sports works, but I'm sure it's supposed to show that he has an interest and a smart mind for this game.
Yes, that will never come up again.
Oh, okay. I don't know. That's what I would do as a writer. That's all I got for you, Sam.
It's supposed to show how awesome he is, basically.
Yes. I mean, he's the main character, so that's a given.
So I wrote in my notes, I didn't remember any of this boring stuff from when I saw this as a kid.
We only remember 2 scenes, so how does that help you?
Yeah, that's true. But I just remember, like, there's a lot of stuff that I just sort of glazed over in my vague memories. Anyway, so the QB takes a sip of water and spits it on his shoes because he's, of course, a bit of a jerk.
Oh, yeah, Brad, seriously.
Brad. And this is the first of many scenes that have this weird choppy slow-mo that happens with every action scene. There's some slow-mo football playing, and I suppose he does exactly what Ryan told him to, because he does it and he wins the game. Yay! Everybody's cheering for the red team. Except Ryan looks really sad. He looks like wistfully at a girl up in the stand, and then sort of mournfully looks away as he's left out of the celebration.
Is it a girl he likes, or is it just a random girl? Because that'd be way funnier.
It's a girl who comes up later, but again, she is not given a name until much later, nor a personality.
Ah, that's a shame.
Yeah. So then his little friend Chucky comes up to him and is like, hey, let's get out of here. Congratulations, but let's just go. Let's bounce. This isn't our scene. And so they're walking home and Chucky is like, hey, you didn't get any credit. You know, they should have really thanked you. Never going to thank you. And that's when Brad and his friends, including the girl whose name is Tracy, I'm telling you that now, but I did not learn that until much later. They all ride past him on his bikes, and Chucky yells out, hey, how about a thank you for Ryan? And so the group turns around, and the hedge people of Brad are kind of like giving them some guff, but Brad's like, you know what? It's a pretty smart move, Jeffers. You want to hang out with us tonight? And he invites them both to meet them at some tunnel at midnight. 8 o'clock? I don't know. Later that night, just at night sometime. Chuck is against this plan, but Ryan is all for it.
That's because Chuck knows there's a dangerous ceremony awaiting him and a whirlpool.
Well, yeah, Chucky's like, he's evil, he's up to something, but okay. I mean, at this point, I think Brad's actually not terrible. Like, he spat on Ryan's shoes, not cool, but he actually gave him praise and thanks in front of his friends, which was cool. So his character is not established yet to me.
How did Chuck know that Ryan had given them the idea to win the game?
It's a good question, Danielle, because he was not there when he gave him the play.
I was wondering.
I did not think of that until now, Danielle. You have poked a massive hole in this story.
Oops, sorry.
No, it's fine. There are plenty more.
Maybe he does it all the time and Chuck watched him and is like, he's telling him to play again.
That's true. This could be a regular thing for all I know. Ryan really loves football. And I'll be honest, I didn't know he had a leg brace until later in this movie because you rarely see him from the waist down up to this point.
Oh, okay.
I was just not paying attention. I was confused as to why he was sort of not playing the game and watching instead. So anyway, later that evening, Ryan is talking to his mom. She congratulates him on coming up with the big play because apparently he just told her about that. But Ryan is still all mopey about how I just thought of it. I didn't actually play, so it doesn't really count. I don't really deserve any rewards. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's an important part of the playing process.
Strategy's huge in sports. and many other things. And his mom gives him a little pep talk before rushing out the door because she has to show a house. I'm guessing she's a realtor. It's unclear.
Usually when they have to show houses, that's what they are.
Yeah, but like, this is the first time she just mentions it briefly. So I'm guessing she's a realtor. Ryan's dad is also apparently away on business because she's just coming back some indefinite time in the future and is never brought up again.
I didn't even think about the other parent because so often in movies, they're a one-parent household. I just assumed when he said mom, I was like, okay, he's a mom.
Like the Karate Kid or something.
Like every movie ever that has a teenager. Like 80% of movies has a single parent.
Ryan goes back to the restaurant after his mom leaves to talk to the Kung Fu chef again.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other chefs trips while backing into Ryan while carrying some plates. And the Kung Fu chef runs over and like catches all the plates and catches the guy before it falls as like super cool. And then he takes Ryan and walks out of the restaurant, walks out of the kitchen upstairs to where his apartment is apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't own this restaurant because the other guy is yelling at him to get back to work. He just lives above it, and he just left work again to go show Ryan some cool stuff.
He must be a really good chef.
I know. He looks really good with his cool Kung Fu chef stuff. Like, it looks awesome. I hope it tastes as good as it looks, honestly, because that'd be awesome. That'd be amazing. So upstairs, the chef, whose name is Ming, I think. I can't remember, because again, names in this movie just sort of come and go.
That's what your summary says, if that helps.
It does. Okay, that does help.
You're welcome.
He shows Ryan a cocoon in a jar, like a giant cocoon, and tells a story about how he found the cocoon, and the moth was struggling to get out of it, so he ripped open the cocoon, and the moth flew off, and then immediately died. And he's like, I shouldn't have helped the moth. It was my fault it died, because we all have our own cocoons, which help make us strong, and we shouldn't interrupt the journey the moth was taking, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's a metaphor for life.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm glad that really hit home with you, Sam.
I mean, it's not really a subtle metaphor, Danielle.
It was when you were 8.
That's true. When I was 8, Danielle, I didn't really know what a metaphor was, so...
But it hit you deep inside. You understood the journey of the moth. I
did. I really did. The moth we'll never see. At this point, Ryan bemoans his disability and how he can't play football. And this is when I realized he had the disability. So that may be on me for not paying attention. And then the Kung Fu chef, the Ming, gives Ryan a manuscript, which is just like a book, but he calls it a manuscript of Tao. And he just sort of said, hey, Ryan, this is a cool book. I'm going to give it to you. It helped me find myself. And Ryan's like, oh, okay, great, thanks. And then leaves. And that's the end of that scene.
Does Ming ever come back into play, or does he immediately go into this dangerous ceremony and fall to a whirlpool?
We'll never see Ming again, no.
That's so sad. He's even in the summary.
Look, neither of that summary, Danielle, is just a setup to this movie, like the first 20 minutes, and none of that's really relevant.
He doesn't even come back and have some kind of like closing scene with him?
Nope.
Where he catches all the plates or something now that he's learned
And at this point, I always felt like this was very much kind of like the Never-Ending Story, where Bastian takes the book from the bookseller in the store, or the Never-Ending Story book from that, and they have like this connection at the end of the book or movie because they both experience this thing unique to them through this shared media, this book. That is not this movie.
What? That's
Being
just
gives him a
dumb.
book and he's like, here you go.
What's even the point?
My first assumption was wrong about where this was going.
That's where it should go. That's like storytelling 101.
Yeah, well, I don't want to tell you. So, anyway, we cut to the night where they're at some industrial park. Ryan and Chuck are sitting on the curb waiting for the cool teens to ride up on their bikes. They break in and they wander about this building for a while. Chuck is quietly freaking out to Ryan about, like, I don't want to be here. This is crazy. We should just leave. And Ryan's like, don't ruin this for me, Chucky. This is my one chance to get in. Because, you know, teens. And then they pry open a manhole cover and they climb down and they end up in like a big room, like a building room. Like apparently this manhole cover did not lead to a sewer, but has led to another room, like another floor in this building, which is not how manholes work to my understanding.
As far as I know, it does not work that way either.
So the teens take them all to this tank that's sitting like on top of this scaffolding area. And there's just a whirlpool in this tank. Like maybe this is a water treatment plant. I don't know, but it's got a whirlpool in it.
Okay.
It's just exposed.
I've been to a water treatment plant a couple of times for reasons. And
you want to elaborate on those reasons, Danielle?
No, music video. Anyway, that was the reason. And I don't remember any open whirlpools. I'm going to put it out there.
Especially not inside.
If there was one, it would have been in the music video.
But there you go, Danielle. This is a whirlpool. That's the only thing in this room is like some pipes and a whirlpool. And I don't know why.
Maybe it's like they went into an alternate reality when they climbed through that storm drain thing. So
No, the other reality is still forthcoming, Danielle.
Maybe there are multiple realities. Maybe this is like an interim reality.
So we're like some liminal layer between our reality and the world of Tao.
Where when they climbed through the manhole that randomly went to a completely different part of the building.
All right. Well, it makes as much sense as anything. So Brad takes Ryan up to the whirlpool and he tells Ryan they should walk across this thin pipe that's over the top of the whirlpool and tag with spray paint, like spraying a tag on the opposite wall to get in. That's like the initiation ritual.
Okay, so the initiation, from what you're saying, is to go into this semi-abandoned area with a random whirlpool.
Yep.
Who knows where this is?
I don't know if it's abandoned, Danielle.
I said semi-abandoned.
It's abandoned at the moment, but it was like it might be fully in use in the morning. I don't know.
Sure, but why is this the place you have to tag? Why not a more public place? Why the
you have
potential
to be,
water treatment plant?
And cross the whirlpool. It's like their secret clubhouse thing.
Sure.
I don't know, Danielle. I'm not in these dumb teen heads.
All right, continue on.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't seem like the most daring thing, but they have to cross the whirlpool and tag it. And the girl's like, Brad, you said you wouldn't make him do it. Tracy has to say, I still didn't know her name at this point. But Brad's like, let me show you. And he grabs the can and he goes across. He's like, I'll meet you on the other side, Ryan. And he like coaxes and taunts Ryan across. And Chucky's like, this is stupid. Make like Tom and Cruise. I'm like, all right, 90s. You got me. But Ryan is adamant he can do it. So Ryan shimmies out onto the pipe and then
he falls.
Brad points out this perpendicular pipe that's like open and pointing at him and says, hey, you never know that thing's going to spray out and like dump you into the water. So don't
is this place?
Slow down. I don't know. I have no idea, Danielle, because immediately after he mentions that, there's a rumble of water and some water jet comes splashing out of that other pipe, blasts Ryan off the pipe into the whirlpool, and everyone freaks out as Ryan is sucked under, and they would assume drown.
Yeah, they're in so much trouble. In real life, they're in so much trouble.
Oh yeah, they're just accessories to some like manslaughter at the very least. But psych, Ryan's body pops up in a swamp and is dragged out by a mysterious figure and left on the shore. He wakes up alone and he's like, oh, I'm dry, but he's very confused. So he wanders around calling for his friends and then he looks up to see massive trees and a strange sky.
Is this the magical land of Tao? Tao? Whatever we're calling it.
Tao? Yeah, it's Tao. This is it. So here comes some rapid fire scenes for you, Danielle.
Yes.
Suddenly, a dude in armor pops up and goes, hey, you, and throws a spear at Ryan and hits him in the back. But Ryan's backpack takes the blow and he escapes unharmed.
I don't think that's how backpacks work.
So, and then an obscured figure bursts, screaming, just going out of the swamp.
Wait, I'm sorry. Skype cut out. Could you do that again?
Yeah, nice try, Danielle. I'll be doing a lot of screaming in this episode, don't worry, because it happens a lot in this movie. So there'll be plenty of more times.
It's funny every time.
So the figure starts smacking the soldiers around. Since there are more than one of them, that wasn't clear before. And we don't see who it is or what it is. And the soldiers run away. Ryan looks at the thing, screams, also runs away, and we don't see much of the figure. We just see like a close-up of its eyes.
So there's like some kind of monster-esque figure thing.
Yep.
And then a bunch of guards that come out, scream, and then run away.
Yeah, after they get smacked around a bit by the mysterious figure.
Okay.
Ryan stops a few seconds later, noticing his leg is no longer hobbled. Like, he doesn't need the brace. There's no brace on it. He can run and walk just fine.
A magical whirlpool, obviously.
Something. And he is ecstatic. And he stops to do a little fantasy football routine, which is like, Jeffers gets the ball and just like run around, touchdown. I'm like, is this the right moment for this, Ryan? Like, I know you're really excited about your leg being fixed. It's really cool. But maybe save the imaginative football playing for when you're not surrounded by weird soldiers who threw spears at you and creepy monsters.
Priorities, Sam.
Well, I think I'm proven right here because a dwarf jumps down on him out of a tree and starts choking him because that's what happens. Then a knife comes whizzing out of nowhere and pins the dwarf to a tree, who begins screaming, hold your blade!
The tree begins screaming?
Nope, just the dwarf.
There's way too much happening in this scene I don't understand.
This is, like, no, I'm telling you, this all happens like thing after thing after thing. Like, you can barely process it. It is like legitimately like, oh, this is happening. No, this is happening. Oh, this is happening. And none of it has any context. It's kind of amazing. So Ryan looks up and a young woman comes out in white robes. She just like appears from around a tree and she asks if he's hurt. When the dwarf screams, "He's a newcomer, Alicia! Came right up out of the river." And so, thanks for the introduction, dwarf man. I appreciate you introducing us to Alicia. And that's spelled Elysia, just to be, extra fun.
Of course.
So Alicia's interrogating Ryan, saying like, "Hey, are you really a newcomer? Where'd you come from?" He's like, "I just fell in the water and those guys tried to kill me." And Alicia's like, "Those were Komodo's men. We're not safe here." And it picks him up and just sort of flies straight up into the air out of the trees, leaving the dwarf pinned to the tree complaining.
So you said earlier something about, they knew he came from the water, right?
I guess the dwarf saw him come up out of the river.
Well, so this is not an uncommon occurrence?
I don't know. They seem to be expecting a newcomer, and that newcomers aren't particularly unheard of in this universe, it seems.
As people who fall through, all the people who failed the dangerous ceremony fell through the water.
I don't know, Danielle. They're all very blasé about this. Also, she can fly, so that's the thing. But it's wire Fu.
Well, yeah.
So now we cut to a spooky castle place. The soldier who threw the spear is being dressed down by the general. I think his name is General Grillo, because this was supposed to be a stealth mission to spy on, quote-unquote, their life spring. Who's they? What's a life spring? Don't ask questions, Danielle.
Does it come up again later?
Oh, many times.
Okay. Do we ever get an explanation as to what a life spring is?
Kinda?
Do we get an explanation as to who they are?
More or less.
Okay. Well, carry on.
The commander defends himself, saying they were attacked, but, he's the one who jumped out yelling, "Hey, you," and threw the spear at the guy. So if they had just, kept their mouth shut, the stealth mission would have stayed stealth. So it really is on him.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the commander is brought to some kind of platform where he's faced with the big boss, Lord Komodo, presumably, who floats down on this, weird suspended bed/throne thing. Cage. Let's get a cage with a bedding in it. I don't know. It's cool. He seems chill.
He's just hanging out in a cage bed?
Yeah, it's just his throne thing.
Can he get out of the cage bed?
Yes.
Is it really a cage? What's the definition of
a cage?
It's
not a cage. It's made out of I mean cage in the sense that it's not solid. It's got lattice on the bottom of interwoven branches or something that have big holes, and there's a bunch of pillows and stuff in it. I don't know.
Whatever I'm imagining is not what you're describing.
That's absolutely. It's hard to describe this. This movie has some really interesting visual flourishes.
Probably why it stuck with you when you were 8.
That's probably the most of the reason, is because it looked weird, and that was sort of yeah, that's cool. So the camera lingers on a spooky girl in black who's clearly evil and a black helmet thing with horns or whatever.
Is she evil, Sam, because she was in black?
She's evil because she's in black and working for the evil guy, yes.
I mean, she could be good and just have to wear the black outfit because she works for Evil Incorporated.
Spoiler alert, Danielle, we never learn her name, but she plays a significant role in the movie.
Okay. She's secretly not evil?
Nope.
Aww.
She's just plain evil. I'm sorry to break it to you.
That's a bummer.
So the big boss, Komodo, he yells at the commander and is "I see failure in your eyes." And he is giving the most over-the-top scene-chewing performance. It's amazing. He vacillates between "Tell me, Commander, what happened? Why were you failing me?"
I love lines that are delivered half and half. They're one of my favorites.
That's so good. He's constantly jumping between yelling his heart out, and he's always going making weird "wah" yelling noises "whoa." He's just doing weird sound effects all the time.
He sounded like a Skeksis or whatever they're called from the Dark Crystal movie.
Skeksis?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Kind of.
No, you did. When
anyway.
you hear it in replay, Sam, you'll go, "Oh, yeah, she's right."
I'm sure. Whatever it is, he's just over the top, and I kind of love him. He is a big old ball of ham, and he is loving every moment of this, apparently, and
big
it's
old
great.
Ball of ham.
Yeah. Big old ball of ham bouncing around the set. But the commander proffers the backpack he stole from Ryan as "Hey, look, I got him the newcomer. Please don't kill me." And Komodo gestures his hand, and the bag is magicked out of the commander's hands into some of his hench people, the lieutenants.
Okay.
And Komodo's "Yeah, that's cool. But don't be afraid. There's nothing to fear because nothing dies." And he goes on in this big speech about oh, nothing just dies, blah, 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 doesn't matter. And then he just drops the commander down a trap door in the floor and he falls to his death. And it looks like something that Mr. Burns would do. It's really great.
So, do they die or not?
Oh, he's dead. He's absolutely dead.
So things do die.
Komodo's just spouting philosophy. He goes off on all this philosophy about nothing really dies, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. I didn't really listen that closely to it because it's not interesting in a movie about a crazy yelling dude, which is way more interesting when he's yelling, not when he's philosophizing. Anyway, I should also mention he has like this long black hair, and he's constantly like flipping his hair back and like brushing it back from his head and these big gestures. And it's really great. He is by far my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah, you always like the overly dramatic evil.
Well, can you blame me? They're so much fun.
No, I can't blame you, Sam. Just like I always like the sidekick.
Yeah, exactly. So his hench people, they open up the bag, and out falls the manuscript that was given to Ryan by Ming, the Kung Fu chef.
Right. The Book of Tao.
The Book of Tao. A Book of Tao, I should say, to be consistent with this movie.
Sure. The Book of Tao.
And the general finds the book, and he identifies it as a symbol of Tao, and he's like, could this be the manuscript? And Komodo magics it out of his hand into his own hand. He's like, at last! And he opens it up and seems disappointed because I don't think he can read it. And so he commands his lieutenants to find the newcomer and bring him in alive.
They're all speaking in English?
Yeah, some of them have Chinese accents because they're Chinese actors.
Right, but they can't read the English book?
We'll get to that, Danielle.
Okay. It's because it's from the real world? The world from beyond the whirlpool?
No.
I don't know. That's all I got.
Trust me, Danielle, it will become more and less clear.
Okay.
So,
my favorite kinds of movies.
So cut to Ryan and Alicia. They're on a boat in the swamp because boat, I guess.
Because the swamp, Sam.
Oh, well, I guess flying is too hard for her.
Maybe it's hard with another person. Like, it's hard to pick up other people.
She seemed to do it just fine.
Maybe it's like a short-term thing. Like, I mean, I could lift up 150 pounds for a little bit too, but not very long.
All right. Thank you, Danielle, for explaining that to me. Point is, Ryan is finally asking the important questions like, who are you and where am I? Which he never asked up until this point, apparently, because they got in the boat and were halfway down the swamp.
Everything had calmed down by then. He had a chance.
And so she's expositing, like, you're in Tao. And Ryan is like, oh, the manuscript. I didn't believe him. I thought it was a story. And Alicia is very interested in the manuscript. She's like, hey, what manuscript? What did it look like? And he looks around and he points to the symbol on the boat. Like, I had that symbol on it. To which she responds, the manuscript of legend. And I have never been more confused as to what's going on.
Well, clearly, Sam, he has access to the manuscript of legend.
Right, okay.
Restaurant chef Ming had previously and may or may not have known was actually a magical manuscript because we never get back to him, so who even knows?
Okay, that's, you know what, Danielle? That is pretty much a very succinct summary. And let me throw some more nonsense words into you.
This is not confusing. I don't know why you're so confused.
I mean, it's not confusing in the sense of like, the plot is very simple, but these people just say things like you're supposed to like, oh yes, Komodo's men, like from before. Like you're supposed to like know who these people are before they're introduced.
Yeah, they're the evil guys. Sam, come on.
So she goes on expositing how Master Chung once told them of the book of special power that if returned to Tao could change everything, and how Chung taught of peace and harmony when he came, but it didn't last when Komodo began mining the life springs for a mineral called Zubrium. Yeah, there's going to be that kind of movie. So all the life in Tao depends on the life springs, which radiate energy and life to all of Tao. And without Zubrium, the life springs die out, and so do everyone else. And Komodo uses it as a fountain of youth, where he mines the Zubrium and drinks it to remain young and strong. But only one life spring has been left untouched by Komodo, and it's the last one. So, you know, dire circumstances.
So, do they mean he's just taken over all of them, or does it somehow pollute it when he's using it?
When he mines the Zubrium from them, they die. The Zubrium gives the life spring their life, or something.
This is like a weird cross between Neverending Story, Page Master, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I was going to say Avatar, but sure.
Yeah, and Avatar, because we haven't even gotten to the thing where you said something about them having abilities. Was that this?
Oh.
Or was that another thing?
They have abilities, and they're mining a dumb-sounding element called Zubrium. I mean, it's better than unobtainium, so I give the movie credit.
That's what I was saying.
Also, you have no idea how prescient your comparison to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is, Danielle, as you'll find out very shortly. So she then mentions that no one can stop Komodo, not even the warriors of virtue. And Orion immediately latches out of the word warriors, like, warriors? Like Kung Fu? What do they look like? And Alicia just says, they're ruse. But it's ruse spelled R-O-O-Z. So that's all that's given about that.
See, that's confusing. Like the rest of it, I was following along with.
But that's my point. They do this all the time. Like, I wasn't explaining things in this succinct manner. Like, they just keep dropping words and things like you're supposed to know what they're talking, like life spring and this and that. Anyway, they go through some kind of tunnel and they end up in this bustling swamp village, and she declares it's the last life spring. It's full of strange people. There's like a water buffalo person and a rhino person. They have names. We don't learn them to the very end of the movie. It doesn't matter. They are somewhat important though, but not really. The characters come and go very quickly in this movie. So then some dude in a robe, presumably Master Chung, comes out and gives a speech about how the warriors of virtue will protect them. The crowd's like, hey, what about Yun? He's not here. So there's only 4 of them, so they can't protect us. And Komodo's soldiers are getting closer. And then Alicia bursts in and saying, we have hope. A newcomer has arrived. And the crowd's like, great. How's that help?
So
and then the end of the scene.
He's going to be the 5th warrior of virtue?
No, there is the 5th warrior of virtue. He just happened to be MIA at the moment.
Right, but this one's going to fill in.
No.
No? Why else would they have him there?
Danielle, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you right now. I was like, oh, Ryan's going to be really important in this movie. He's not.
Are the Warriors of Virtue like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Because I feel like the bad guy is a little bit like Shredder.
Well, okay, if Shredder chewed more scenery, he would be. But yes, they are very much like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in some very important ways, which I'll get to because they're about to have a big introduction. So
this is very exciting. I really like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, just telling you.
We cut to Ryan. He's talking with Master Chung. Chung asks about the manuscript, but Ryan's like, let me see the warriors. Can I see the warriors? And Chung is like, yeah, sure, let's go see the warriors. We can just forget about the important manuscript for the moment.
Yeah, not nearly as important as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle warriors.
Then we cut to Ryan. He's looking out over a balcony, and on this boat in the middle of the water, there is a kangaroo person playing a flute.
How come they're all animal-human hybrids? What's with all the animal-human hybrids?
They're not. There's only 2 in the village, plus the Warriors of Virtue
but
who are kangaroos.
But you said the buffalo, there was a buffalo
There's
person.
There's a buffalo and the rhino person. Everyone else is just human.
And now a kangaroo thing.
Yeah, but like, everyone else, Alicia, Komodo, all our soldiers, everyone else in the village besides these like 7 people are just regular people.
Okay.
So it's not like everyone, Dale. Only the like named characters and all the evil people are not.
Just why? But why? Is it like a whole other race that like lives in this land, I assume?
Danielle, I have no answers for you as to why there's a random water buffalo and rhino person and then
just because it looks
people.
Cool and it's 5 kangaroo people and only 2 other animals.
Yeah, that's it. That's
like the kangaroo people got busy, but the other ones were like,
Maybe they're all like somewhere else in the world, or maybe they got murdered off by the life springs being drained. I don't know, Danielle. This is what we're working with. People abundant. Animal people less abundant.
Okay. Well, that's disappointing.
So the Roos, again, ROOZ, are the Warriors of Virtue. They were trained with nature's elements and some virtues. I don't remember what the virtues are. They weren't important.
So the Roos, R-O-Z.
R-double-O-Z,
I said
please.
R-O-O-Z. R-double-O-Z. Are they like a type of people? Is that like a group name?
It's a race.
There's only 5 of them?
The 5 that we meet. I don't know. Again, I don't know. There may be more in this world, Danielle, but we only ever see 5.
This is very like, this is like Vampire Academy all over again.
Where there's a lot of backstory that's sort of telling you too much, but not enough at the same time.
Where you don't have any of the answers, just like I didn't have any for you.
And the difference is, Danielle, this movie does not provide the answers.
That movie didn't provide answers either.
True, but you really tried to answer questions from the book. So the answers were there. You just didn't have them.
Unfortunately, there's no Warriors of Virtue book, as far as we know.
Anyway, they were trained by Master Chung in nature's element to protect Tao. So we get a roll call. There's Lai, the element of wood, has a cool staff, is cranky. So they'll get like a little personality trait.
Oh, good.
And they also have a virtue. I didn't note down the virtue because, I don't know, I thought their personality traits were better than their...
You're a terrible storyteller.
Well, the virtues don't really matter.
This is like 13th Warrior, where you're like, I don't know, there are a bunch of people, and they had names.
13th Warrior, nobody cares what the names are, Danielle. And this one, I know all their names. Again, it doesn't matter. So... I should also mention that this is very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the sense that they are like people in these animatronic / full prosthetic costumes. And they look decent. They're not as good as, the Jim Henson works, but they're not bad, so they're pretty good.
So the Roos are OOZs are they the kangaroo people?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. That's even more exciting.
I said they were kangaroo people.
No, I missed that. I just thought that the kangaroo people were just background people. This is very exciting.
Okay, yeah, now you're back on board.
I was on board anyway, but now I'm like even more
are
so.
the Roos, the kangaroos. Get it? It's a joke.
Oh, I do get it. Yeah.
I picked the summary at the very beginning of this that didn't mention they were kangaroo people because I wanted that to be a surprise.
It was very surprising.
All right, so again.
So this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Roos.
No, they're much older than teens. They're full-blown adults.
They're
not mutants. They're just people. So
adult
they're
mutant, right?
Ninja Roos. Actually, they're Kung Fu Roos. They're not even Ninja Roos, Danielle. I'm sorry.
Ninja Roos. I'm going to call them Ninja Roos, okay?
They're Kung Fu Roos.
Kung Fu Roos.
Fair. Kung Fu Roos is more fun to say anyway.
Ninja Roos sounds like some kind of animal cracker that you dip into, like Dunkaroos.
No, it sounds more like a prank a ninja plays on you. What's it, a Ninja Roos? They got me.
It's like some hazing ritual. It's a ninja roo.
That involves a whirlpool, apparently.
Sorry, continue on. Kung Fu Roos.
All right, there are 5 of them. There's Lai, element of wood, has a cool staff, is cranky. There's Shun, element of earth, kind and nurturing. There's Chi, element of fire, playful and wise. There's Yi, element of metal, he doesn't speak, and sees every choice as black or white, right or wrong. And then there's Yun, the leader, element of water. Yun has lost the will to fight and just sort of left one day and has not come back and no one really knows where he is or what he's doing.
And in any other movie, Ryan would fill in for him, but apparently does not.
No, Ryan is not filling. Why would Ryan fill in when there's a perfectly good Yun out there waiting to come hopping back in to save the day?
I don't know, but I feel like he would be somehow involved as the 5th one until they found the 5th one.
Or like a 6th, maybe? A 6th element, like heart.
5.5.
I don't know. Captain Planet this up, or like 5th element where they have love, something.
I'm glad we can write this story. You don't need the movie to do it.
So while this is happening, and they're giving the introductions, it gives a shot of each of the Roos doing cool martial arts stuff in the background, like, whoa, doing little demonstrations of their weapons. And then Chung and Ryan go down to meet them, and then cuts to night, apparently, and they're around a campfire, and the conversation continues as if nothing had happened. Like, they're going to meet them, like, hey, how's it going? And then night, so, nice to meet you guys. Like, what? And so they ask Ryan to see the manuscript, and Ryan's like, I don't have it. He explains how it was in his pack, and they conclude that Yun saved him out in the woods, so Yun must know where it is, but Yun doesn't care about the fight. Chung insists that they find Yun since all 5 in the manuscript are needed. You need all 5 of the elements and the warriors and the virtues, and Yun is the virtue of benevolence. It's the one I remember because it's the only one they keep mentioning.
So Yun was out in the forest with them?
No, Yun was out in the forest where Ryan popped up, and he's the one who dragged Ryan out of the swamp and beat up all the soldiers.
I'm going to be honest, there was so much going on during that scene that I promptly forgot about 50% of it.
Well, a lot happened, I told you.
And did you tell me it was a kangaroo man that was pulling him
No, I told you that it was a mysterious figure that we didn't get to see.
Oh, he was a mysterious figure. I didn't make that connection.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a mysterious figure, Danielle.
I think I'm only half listening, apparently.
If that. This is not a movie you can half listen to. It is so dense that you have to pay full attention.
I was doing so well up until that point.
Well, that's when the movie just a hard left turn into like a bunch of world building gibberish. And again, I don't wish to mock or malign the teachings of Tao, which a lot of this is based on, is supposed to represent. I am merely saying this presentation is not particularly clear.
With Kung Fu Roos.
Yes.
Right.
I feel like, I don't know a lot about Taoism, but I think there are probably better ways to explain it, is all I'm saying. I don't want this to be
Sam,
disparaging in any way towards Taoism.
There is not a better way to describe anything than with Kung Fu Roos.
All right. Well, maybe I'm the idiot then. Maybe it's just me who is too dense for this movie, so I apologize for that then.
They can explain anything they want in the entire world.
So we cut to later. Ryan is being wistful, and Alicia asks him how he's doing, and he explains like he's missing home, and he wonders if his mom is worried about him.
He's been gone, what, like 2 days?
Not even. It's like 1 day.
Oh, what a whiner.
And Alicia goes, my parents died when young. My brother's recently killed. So, that's a bummer.
So, you miss your mommy?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of felt like that, but it was not meant to be. It was meant to be like we have a connection because we both have, suffered losses. But, you just fell through a magic portal. My parents and brother were killed. So,
Less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah. Anyway, Alicia's like, oh, I think I found a friend after he like sympathizes with her. And then Alicia takes him to like see this overgrown building, which has statues of the Roos. They were built to honor the Roos and were revered in the Old Order. Why were the Roos as a race revered in the Old Order? Were there more Roos, Danielle? I don't have answers to these questions.
What?
The movie doesn't have answers to these questions.
What's the Old Order?
Yep. That's all I have. Yeah, there was an Old Order, and that's literally all we ever know about what the Old Order is or was.
All right. Well, carry on, Roos. Carry on.
Yeah. Carry on, Roos. So Alicia explains that Yun left because he killed somebody in battle. And Ryan's like, what? It's battle. People die all the time. And she's like, it was a life!
So they don't normally kill anybody?
And so the warriors of virtue have made a vow to never kill. Like that is part of their virtue, is never killing.
So they're like Batman Roos.
They're like Kung Fu Batman Roos. Kung Fu Roomans.
Oh, boy.
Which don't really seem like the best candidates as your warriors against an unstoppable evil army. If there's like, all right, we'll fight you, but we won't kill you.
We'll just knock all of you unconscious.
And then let you get back up and come out as it does not seem sustainable. So while Alicia is looking away and explaining all this to Ryan, he is immediately snatched by a sinister hand and studded black leather glove. Uh-oh. He just like takes him out of wherever they are, the temple with the statues. Easy peasy, while Alicia was looking the other way.
It just like grabs him and like, it's like the canes that used to pull people off stages.
No, like the hand comes out, puts like a hand around his mouth and like drags it back and he's gone. Most kidnappable boy ever.
The end.
So Alicia runs off to find help. And then we cut to Ryan being led through the woods by the creepy girl, the evil girl in black.
Who should not
and the
be
hench
evil.
lieutenants. She's definitely evil, Danielle. I'm sorry.
Very disappointed in her character. No name,
Yeah,
evil black wearing girl.
I could have looked in the credits for her name, but I figured the movie's not going to tell me her name. I'm not going to bother looking up.
Been there.
It may have said the name somewhere in the movie again. I could have missed it. I'm willing to accept that mea culpa, but it had to be real brief. Anyway, so they're all dragging Ryan through the woods, and they stumble upon Yun, who's just sort of sitting there playing the flute or something. And then they walk up and start teasing him. They're like, hey, Yun, you kill anyone today? Yeah. And I'm like, what? Why are you mocking this super powerful warrior guy who you know kills? Like, don't taunt him. This is a bad idea.
But he didn't want to kill Sam.
And so, as you can imagine, Yun just sort of gets up and kicks all their butts while Ryan escapes because, duh, if they had just kept their mouths shut, they would have been fine.
Yeah, but then there's no story.
And so this is where I'm not sure if it's the conversion to home video or if this was the original shooting, that we see this action scene and it's shot in this sort of like weird choppy frame rate with lots of moments of slow-mo, and it's like got a lot of motion blur. It seems like very blurry for some reason, like you can't really see the action clearly. I don't know what's going on, if that's original or not, but I'm just sort of going to gloss over most of the action scenes because they give me a headache.
Is this the kind of slow motion that was like filmed in slow motion, or is this the kind of slow motion they just slowed down so it all looks bad?
Yeah, this is where they slowed the frame rate down to looks really choppy and fake.
That's your favorite thing in the whole world, Sam.
I really hate it.
I know.
I'm like, if you're gonna do slow-mo, either do it right or just don't do it because it looks worse. Ugh. Anyways, a lot of that, and it just looks choppy and low frame rate in general. Anyway, moving on. After the bad people run away, Ryan runs up to Yun, and he's like, hey, do you have the manuscript? And Yun's like, I don't got it. And so they're like, oh no, Komodo must have it. And Ryan tells Yun, hey, you gotta help us and help the others get it back. But Yun goes, you don't understand, and starts to run away. Until then Ryan starts yelling at him, just berating him like, you're a wimp, you're a loser, you can't just run away.
So it's his point in this movie to get Yoon to rejoin the ruse?
Yes, which is what happens immediately now.
They don't even drag that out. Ryan just got him in one go.
Ryan berates him for a little while, calls him a wimp, and then Yoon's like, all right, you know what? You got me. Let's go back.
Well, it works on fifth graders.
So Yoon bounces back and is like, let's go. And they return to the other warriors on their boat, like a big flat boat. And they're all surprised to see Yun back. And Yun apologizes and explains how the newcomer helped him realize that he was wrong to run away.
That he's a wimp.
Yeah, apparently it's like, you're a wimp. Like, oh, you redeemed my entire philosophy about being super down about breaking my vow of never murdering.
I can't believe that worked. I can't believe they didn't have a heart-to-heart talk. Like, usually that's what's happening.
No, It wasn't a heart-to-heart. It was just him yelling insults at him until he's like, "You're right. You know what? The scorn of a 13-year-old has convinced me."
This movie is so promising, and yet.
Again, this movie has things I love. Like all the Roos have great voice actors, and a lot of them sound like Muppets. It's so good. Like one of them definitely sounds like Cookie Monster. He's like, "Oh, I'm the Roo with a deep gravelly voice," and one of them sounds kind of like Grover. It's great. Like the squeaky. I'm the Roo who likes to talk about the squeaky stuff. It's great.
Are they
so good?
Are the actors that are doing the
no, they're not the same people who are in the
people?
costumes. No, they're different voice actors, and it's great. It's so good. Anyway, they're all talking about how great it is to have Yoon back.
He's gone for 2 days.
Yeah, I don't know how long he was gone. Could have been 2 days, could have been a week. So Ryan and Yoon explain how the manuscript must be in Komodo's hand, so all is lost. But then Chung shows up and is like, it's not a big problem because only the newcomer who brought the manuscript can see it, since only his eyes can see what's written on it. So, we're safe.
Oh, okay. And also, it's like a book, right? Because they eventually could just go back into the real world and pick up a couple more copies.
It's not just a book, it's like a magic special book, Danielle.
Yes, apparently so.
It's not like they just sell it at the Borders down the street.
You don't know that. Have they looked?
That's a fair point. There are no Borders in Tao, so they don't know.
Have they looked? You don't know that, Sam.
If they were, they must have been destroyed by Komodo when he sucked the life springs of all of these Zubrium.
That's true. Zubrium causes you to do some crazy stuff.
It really does. So Yoon vows to get the manuscript back, and a cheer goes up.
I'm sorry. How do they know that only he could read it?
Because Master Chung tells him so.
Okay, sorry. Sorry to ask such a stupid question.
Look, that's all. Master Chung is the expositor-in-chief in this universe.
Is it like part of the
legend?
Yeah.
I don't know. Apparently, it may be but not because only he seemed to know. Like Komodo didn't know that until he looked in the book and apparently couldn't read it and demanded the newcomer he brought to him. So apparently Chung knows everything, but no one else knows anything.
Okay, there's always one.
There's always one. He's the ancient wise man, Danielle.
Yeah, he's read all the ancient wise men texts. He was there before Borders was destroyed.
That must be it. Oh, the Sherlock Holmes really knows what he's talking about. All right, so Yoon vows to get the manuscript back, and then a cheer goes up from the whole village. Everyone's cheering about him being back, and the warriors of virtue united again. And they all cheer Ryan for some reason, even though all he did was briefly insult the kangaroo man.
And they don't even know that.
Yeah, they lift Ryan up on his shoulders. He's like, "Yeah, Ryan." I'm like, he did not earn that. But they're trying to make it like he's a big hero. He did very little in this movie so far.
You called him a wimp, Sam. Okay, he gave him the truth.
You got me there. So, we cut back to Komodo's castle, where a weird monkey man is, like, wailing, singing. So I was wrong. There's another animal person.
Wait a second.
I was wrong. I forgot this person was here until I read my notes. Sorry, Danielle. All he does is go, and that's it. That's all we see of him. He's, like, doing a weird sing-song thing in a whale.
Can I put that on loop?
I'm going to apologize to our listeners in advance for my terrible, go watch this movie. You'll see much better performances of all of my terrible impressions.
I doubt that.
No, you'd be on this great. It's really good.
I think, in fact, we should, as a listening group, all of our listeners and myself should watch this movie together, and we'll dub in your sounds for the actual sounds.
Boy, that would make the movie unwatchable.
It would be amazing. Like a Mystery Science Theater experience, but only with the sound effects.
It was like bad lip reading or something.
All right, listeners, if you're on board, let me know.
Yeah, please, let me know. Don't let me know. I don't want to be part of this. You're on your own.
No, you're going to do the sound effects, Sam. Sam's on board. It's fine. I'll talk him into it. We'll be fine, everybody. Let us know if there's some interest.
Moving on before waste any more of our time. Komodo is reclining and sort of just kind of loopy. He's clearly high on Zubrium. Like he is super stoned on Zubrium.
Is that how it works?
Apparently so, because he's just lying there, moving his hands all weird. He's moving his head back and forth.
So he's a drug addict. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, basically Zubrium is his elixir. The general comes in. I think his name is Gribbo. I can't remember. General Grillo, not Gribbo. Oh, so close. General Grillo comes in and tells them that all the Zubrium has been mined from the life spring. And so he's like, well, that one's run dry. And also Yoon has returned. So Komodo, high on Zubrium, is unfazed by the ruse. And he sing-songs a plan about letting them make a mistake. He's like, don't do anything. They will make a mistake. Kind of stuff. And then he yells at his minions to not think thoughts! Because apparently he finds that offensive.
Can he hear them? Is this like another Borg situation?
It is not. He is just stoned and erratic.
Okay. Just being clear on how much power our evil person possesses.
He then calls his general in close and confides in him that he can't survive when he sucked the last life spring dry. And so he plans to use the manuscript to escape to the other world where it comes from. And that he'll suck that world dry next. And so they need the newcomer to read the manuscript.
Whoa. So he's going to go to the other world. He's going to suck what dry in the...
I mean, I don't know if he's going to take it over. He's going to take it over. I don't know why he can survive in our world better than Tau, but apparently he's like, no, yeah, once this life spring is gone, I'll just go to the other world and I'll be fine there.
I don't think that's true.
He seems to think it's true, so you know what? That's all I got.
Maybe he'll end up on drugs here in the actual reality.
You get the same performance. It's really good. I love his performance. So he demands that they bring the newcomer back so he can use him to read the manuscript and get to the other world. And then just before he dismisses the general, Komodo, brings him in close and says, hey, does purple suit me? And the general's like, yes, it very much suits you. And he's like, all right, cool. So he's that kind of weirdo. So we cut to Ryan and the Ruse. They're on the boat conspiring about some plan they're hiding from Master Chung.
Why are they hiding?
Because, I don't know, they're just planning a plan that they think Master Chung would not like.
Oh, okay.
They're divided on going to retrieve the manuscript or not, or staying to guard the village. So they're arguing about what they want to do. But Yoon decides that he has to go, and two others volunteer to go with him, while the other two and Ryan stay behind to guard the village. And then Ryan teaches one of the Ruse how to fist bump and do like a cool fist bump handshake because 90s.
This is literally Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Kind of.
No, it is. He's like, the evil guy, Komodo, is Shredder, but like high Shredder. And
he's like a high, loud, goofy Shredder.
Master Chun is Splinter.
Chung.
Master Chung is Splinter.
Yes, that's true.
Obviously the Ruse are adult mutant Ruse. And the, what do we call them? Kung Fu Ruse.
Yeah.
And the kid is that kid.
Casey?
Yeah, sure. Or April. Or
Casey Jones?
And the...
Do you think of April O'Neil?
And the
Alicia would be April O'Neil.
And yeah, that's true. And the Zubrium or whatever is like the ooze or...
Ooze? Yeah. No, because it has no effect on the turtles / Ruse. It's drunk by the evil dude as a fun of you.
It's like a paralleling thing, Sam. It doesn't have to be exact.
It's like MacGuffin, yes.
This is basically a questionable...
If you boil any movie down that far, it can be basically this, Danielle.
I'm just saying, this is like, it makes me want to watch it. That's what I'm saying.
I think you should watch it. I don't know if it's good, but it's kind of fun. It's just so fun how weird and like, it's so fast. Like nothing happens slow in this movie. Everything just like keeps moving at a crazy pace. So you never get bored and you barely have time to absorb what happened.
Perfect.
So anyway, Yoon decides that he will go and two others agree to go with him and the others will stay behind. Ryan teaches one of the fist bump and then Alicia overhears their plan and then sneaks off.
Uh-oh. Is she evil?
So back in Komodo's throne room, Alicia is escorted in. She came voluntarily, it seems, but she's also crying and scared.
Okay.
So that's a little weird. And so Komodo yells at her like, your guilt is obscene! It was a life! Yield to vengeance! And I'm like, what is happening? And so then he holds up a weird little twisty bottle for her, and he says, medication time! And then, like, dangles it out of her reach, and then they, like, engage in a playful chase around his throne room for the bottle.
Okay.
And Komodo is talking the whole time about how the newcomer has fallen under her wicked spell, and she's like, yes, he really likes me, he trusts me. And so they're dancing around, and they kiss a little bit as they're playing around, and then eventually he gives her the bottle, and she drinks from it, and I guess that's supposed to be Zubrium in there.
Why did that just get, like, 10 times creepier?
Yeah, it's super creepy.
She is not April O'Neil, because April would never do that.
Yeah, not at all. She would not make out a little bit with Shredder. Well, I'm sure there's something out there on the internet that would contradict
that
me.
That 100% exists, but not in my world.
All right, so that was that scene. So we cut to Ryan, who wakes up with a start in this weird half-open room. He's being guarded by the Rhino Man and the water buffalo guy, but they don't really matter because they're not very good at guarding things.
We need to give them names, though. It's Earl and
They have names,
Mo.
but I don't know what they are because they only mention him once at the very end of the movie, and I did not care at that point.
I just told you what their names were, Sam.
All right, I'm not using those names.
I haven't given side characters names in a while. It was time.
So Ryan is relieved to still be in Tau with his legs still fully functional. And then he reaches for Yun's sword, which is lying under a cloth. And then the dwarf guy from earlier comes in and is like, I wouldn't do that. Nobody touches Yun's sword. Not even Yun anymore.
Forgot that guy existed.
Yeah. So did the movie, apparently.
Does he have a name?
Yes, he does. So he tells Ryan that, I have some information for you, but I want something in exchange. Oh, Ryan, roughs him up a bit and is like, you will tell me what the information is. And he's like, okay, I have the manuscript. I stole it from Komodo. I've hidden it. I can take you to it, but just you. And Ryan's like, I won't tell the others. Like, no, don't tell the others about this. It's your manuscript. It belongs to you. You're the newcomer. Also, the manuscript is your only way for you to get home, and the others will just use up all the magic and you'll be trapped here. So you don't want to tell the others, which super suspicious.
Yeah. Are you going to tell me his name?
We'll get there, Danielle.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure we were working towards it and not you just ignoring me as usual.
I'm about to do it right now. So just be patient.
So he has to go alone. He can't tell the others. Something, what did you say about the magic?
That the magic will be used up if he gets the others and they'll trap him here so he can't go home.
I don't think that's how that works.
It isn't, but that's what he says. Ryan wavers, insisting he can't just leave. And the dwarf is like, fine, I'll go find someone else.
Find someone else to read it?
I don't know, Danielle.
Because there's nobody else.
He just says he'll find someone else who wants it. That's all he says. He's walking away. And Ryan goes, Mudlap, wait. And apparently his name is Mudlap, which Ryan somehow knows magically.
Maybe he heard it when Mudlap was trying to kill him earlier.
Nope.
I don't know, Sam. Maybe somebody referenced it in conversation later, like, oh, Mudlap was the one that was, Sam, I don't know.
Yeah, they did. It happened off screen.
Well, that's what I figured.
Ryan caves and decides he must go to this obvious trap and leaves with Mudlap.
Dumb. Ryan was doing so well.
No, he wasn't.
Well, he wasn't doing poorly.
All right, you got me there. So we cut to Master Chung. He's in a cave. This is the same scene at the very beginning that was a narration. He's fingering some prayer beads on a string, and the string breaks and the beads scatter over the ground.
Bad omen.
Yes, exactly. Now we cut back to Ryan, who's in the woods, chasing Mudlap, like, hey, wait up! And he's immediately seized by General Grillo, and then Chung shows up and, smacks Grillo in the chest with his staff and paralyzes him. And he goes, this is not your way! Komodo's lies have blinded your vision, but the truth is still there in your heart. And they leave.
Is Master Chung, that seems like a silly waste of time on a film. Is Master Chung human, or is he one of the animals?
He's human. Okay. He's absolutely human. Again, the only animals are the weird monkey singer, the buffalo and the rhino, and the warriors of virtue. If there are any other animal people, they have no speaking roles, and I did not see them.
Okay, well, you forgot about the monkeys. I was just clarifying that.
No, that's a fair point. That was on me. I should not forget about monkey singer. That's on me. So Ryan and Chung leave, and then we cut to some blurry wire Fu of kangaroos running through the forest. And then we cut to inside Komodo's castle, where the three Roos, Yun and the two others, are in the castle trying to get the manuscript. They see it propped up on a plinth, and they go to grab it, but it vanishes like smoke. It was an illusion.
No.
Chains shoot out of the walls. They all get strung up, hovering, suspended in air from chains.
It's not good.
Alicia comes out from around an alcove and mocks them, apparently just revealing she's evil.
And she's super evil. She's not even
no.
Kind of evil.
Alicia is angry at Yun for killing someone. She's like, you don't kill anybody. We made that's what you don't do. And then Komodo and the rest of his court show up and they all mock them. He's like, I'm going to make kangaroo stew. And he talks for a long time about how he's going to make kangaroo stew and use all of their virtues as ingredients in his stew. And then he's about to kiss the evil scary chick, but instead kisses Alicia. And the evil chick is mad and runs her claw hands over some rock and is upset about that.
Okay,
I don't know her name and I don't care.
12 questions.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So Alicia joined the dark side because she got mad that what's-his-face Yun killed. Killed somebody, so she joined the team that kills people?
Yes.
Okay. And
there is more to this, I promise.
And they're going to use their virtues to make stew?
I mean, that's just him talking. He's not actually going to make stew. He's just mocking them, I'll turn you into kangaroo stew. I've got you now. You're defeated, kind of thing.
Are the virtues going to be the seasoning? How do you make virtue stew?
Again, Danielle, it's just talk. It's just monologue. It's just villain monologue. He just wants them. He's just going to murder them. That's all he's going to do.
I feel like there are more questions in there.
Sure. What are they?
I don't know. So there's a love triangle going on between.
Very brief. Yes. This is the extent of the love triangle. Well, maybe not. There's one more scene that might be.
Good job, Sam, finding a media that has a love triangle.
I would barely call it a love triangle, Danielle, and you would agree.
I'm counting it. You know what? A lot of mine do, so it's about time that you had one as well.
I'm honored. So General Grillo comes in, and he informs Komodo that Chung foiled his attempt to kidnap the boy with Mudlab's help. So Komodo announces that it's time to go on the offensive, and it gives General Grillo the vial of Zubrium. It's like, drink! And the Roos are like, it's not worth it. Is it worth it, Grillo? Remember, we were young and we were friends. And then Komodo's like, no, that's enough of that, and drops him into the giant pit in the floor, the one that he dropped the other guy in earlier, and presumably they fall to their death. But, the pit closes back up. We go inside the pit, and the Warriors of Virtue have snagged themselves on a rope, like on the side of the wall. And at the bottom of the pit is like a blender blade that's like spinning. It's going to like mulch them or something. So they're hanging precariously from this rope above this blender. Oh boy, it's crazy. And so one of the warriors throws his metal ring weapon that like entangles the blades of the blender, causing them to stop long enough for them to drop to the ground safely and escape through a convenient secret tunnel.
That's wild.
Yep.
That's like a Galaxy Quest. They're like, who designed this?
It's great. I presume the tunnel is for like flushing out the remains, whatever gets, liquefied.
Oh, yeah, I would assume. Does it go back into the Zubrium? Is that like the secret of the Zubrium?
No.
Aren't you sure? That's like where the life force comes from, is actual
if
life.
If he could make it, he wouldn't be draining the life springs dry,
Maybe he doesn't realize
Danielle.
that that's where it's coming from. Maybe the plot twist.
So why would it have come there before he started mulching people?
I don't, like maybe other people, maybe every time somebody dies, it goes back into the life force pit, Sam.
No. I'm sorry.
I also have a follow-up question about Alicia. I'm sorry.
All right, let's go back to Alicia, yes.
They keep coming to me. So she seems to like him a bit. She's like,
kind of. She seems like she's kind of under his spell. Like she may be addicted to the Zubrium as well now.
And so she's making out with him for funsies?
Kind of. It's all just very sort of weird and not very noteworthy.
It just seems weird to go from being on the good guy's side and then changing because somebody kills somebody. So you go to the side where they actually murder people continuously and don't feel any guilt about it. And then you like make out with the leader of said party.
Yeah, I mean, she is clearly not all mentally there. Like, she is clearly under some kind of weird stress or mental strain or something. Like, she becomes less rational, it seems, when she is back in Komodo's presence.
Okay, sure. Continue on.
Again,
sorry.
There is more. All right, so they escape to the secret tunnel, and then there's a shot of Komodo's army marching out, and then we cut back to Ryan and Chung sitting around a campfire chatting. Master Chung confirms that the manuscript will get him home, but if he helps the Roo, so he can, works both ways. He doesn't have to worry about getting stuck here.
So he can go back if he helps the Roos.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And Ryan learns his leg won't stay healed, but Chung tells him it's more important what's in your heart, and that real strength is in your virtue, which is not a bad message. And then he also says it's in your Kung, K-U-N-G. And this is when the movie then introduces the new concept of Kung, which is like an inner life force and energy, which can be positive or negative. And again, there's a lot of Taoist philosophy here that I am not qualified to relay accurately or judge on the accuracy in the movie. So I'm just going to say the best I can of what I remember.
What? Maybe it's more talked about in the movie, but what was the point of having his leg be healed in this world?
There was no point. It just is.
Okay. I was just curious if it played into anything specific.
I think it's supposed to be like a representation of his inner strength.
Okay.
Is not being held back by his external disabilities.
Got it.
If I'm being generous.
Right. I was willing to go with that, sure.
Anyway, so he talked about how there's positive Kung and negative Kung, and how Komodo uses negative Kung when he kills people and does evil things. Mm-hmm. So then,
is there ever any discussion on where Komodo came from?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
He's probably just one of the inhabitants there, just like the other inhabitants.
Sure. I was just curious if it was some kind of, if he ever got a backstory.
He has no backstory. Yeah. Nope, not at all.
All right.
He's just evil, and he likes being evil.
Once again, why Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is probably a better movie.
Probably. So then Komodo just bursts in on their campfire in this ruined temple, just screaming like, he just enters every scene screaming his head off. It's great.
That's how you do it.
And then he and Master Chung start kung fu fighting while Ryan is told to run away, run back to the life spring and get back to the Warriors of Virtue. And as Ryan's running out, more soldiers show up and Ryan hesitates and he's attacked by the evil chick, but he throws mud in her face and dodges her. Meanwhile, Chung and Komodo are fighting. It's blurry. There's lots of cuts. The choreography is not bad. Like, it's not bad choreography. I just had trouble actually making out what was happening. So that was a shame. And then Ryan runs back and is like, Master Chung! Komodo sees him not having escaped and is like, oh, a target. And so obviously he attacks him and slices this pillar, which is about to fall on Ryan, but Master Chung knocks him out of the way and the pillar falls on him, killing him.
Oh no, Master Chung.
And as he's lying on the ground dying, Komodo sort of crawls up to him because apparently Komodo also had a lot of energy taken out of him and is sort of wounded a bit from his fight with Master Chung. And he crawls up to Chung and he's like, I am in hell. This is my prison. How can I be free? And Chung tells him that the only hell is in your heart, where all battles must be fought, and then dies.
That's sad. Bye, Chung Splinter.
Yep. And Ryan has his foot caught in a little crevice in the ground and can't escape, and that's all we see about that. We cut now to the life spring, which is under attack, and the people are being captured in nets and being led off as...
They're being captured in nuts?
Yeah, like nets have been thrown over like
nets.
people and they're being marched away. Yeah.
I thought you said nuts. And UTS.
No. That would be much funnier.
I was like, squirrel men?
But the two warriors who are left behind to guard the two warriors of virtue, they show up and they start kicking butt and freeing the captives. Two of them fight the lieutenants and they win because one of them shoots manifest flowers, and they shoot at the person that apparently incapacitates them for a while, and they run off, but they realize that they're outnumbered, and so they have to leave.
Flowers are very dangerous.
Apparently. Allergies, they're a real pain in the butt.
They are, man. They are.
So a little while later, Yun and the other two show up, and they realize that the village has fallen, the life spring has been compromised, and they realize there's only one safe place left, and they go to meet up with the other ruse.
Okay.
So now we cut to an unconscious Ryan who is lying in Komodo's silken bed in Komodo's lair.
Is he going to add somebody else to his harem?
Well, Lissy is there watching him sleep and brushes his face and wakes him up, and Ryan's like, wait a minute, you're here? You betrayed us! He doesn't even give her a second to explain. And she's like, no, wait, Ryan, you don't understand. You killed somebody. And Ryan doesn't buy it.
Well, no, because what's his Komodo has probably killed many people.
And she's like, Ryan, you can help Komodo. He can get you home. It'll be fine. Your leg will stay healed. It'll all work out for you.
I don't like her.
And then she explains that the person Yun killed was my brother.
That would explain more of it, but it's still, I just don't understand why she would go to the complete other. Why didn't she just go live in the forest somewhere?
Also, what was her brother doing that warranted getting killed by Yun?
Yeah,
right?
They weren't just playing around.
Right. It wasn't like it was some weird, training accident. And so there's a lot of unanswered questions of whether her anger is really justified.
Yeah,
but apparently
I'm not
it is
buying
to her.
it. I mean, I feel bad that her brother died, and I understand why she would hold that against Yoon, but I don't understand why she would go over to Komodo's side. I just think that's complete antithesis to what she apparently stood for prior to that.
Well, we don't know what she stood for prior to this, because by the time we meet her, she's already working for Komodo.
Yes, but theoretically, they seem to trust her as an ally.
That's true. You got me there.
They don't seem like bad judges of character. I mean, I don't know enough about Kung Fu Ruse.
Well, one of their virtues is not job interview, Danielle. Their benevolence is one of them.
Maybe they're too nice.
So Ryan is backing away from her, and he turns, and Komodo's face appears, and he's yelling, because he always yells when he appears on screen. He's like, ah! And Ryan's like, ah! It's great. And then he gives Ryan the manuscript. He's like, you're not so different, you and I, and gives that whole speech, and how Ryan can become powerful, just like me. We can all go home with them. Keep your fixed leg. Just open the book, Ryan. Read me what's in the book.
This is the point. Can you remind me what the book accomplishes if he reads from it or gives them the information?
Unclear. We don't know. It's just it's a magic book that has great power, and only he can read it.
Oh, okay. But I didn't miss. I thought I missed something again.
You did not miss that, Danielle. What the book does is not explained.
That makes me feel better, but also bad job, movie. Bad job.
And Ryan's like, what about the other ruse? They'll come for me. And Komodo's like, the ruse are all dead. We've got the life spring. It's over. Just open the book and read it to me.
The ruse are never
Ryan's
dead.
about to open it when the General Grillo shows up and announces that the ruse have all escaped. Komodo's like, not now, Grillo. He has to leave. We're in the middle of something.
Not now. You're ruining my plan.
Basically. And so... I love this scene so much. This is one of my favorite scenes. This is one of the scenes I remembered from when I was a kid. I'm like, what was that? Ryan opens the book. It's all blank. Every page looks blank. And Komodo's like yelling at him, read the book. Read the words, Ryan. And all Ryan says, he looks up and says, it happens. And they all just repeat that a bunch of times. Komodo says it. Alicia says it. They all just repeat it. And they're like, what? What? And then Komodo comes up to Ryan and says, you can't read the book, can you? Then you are useless to me. And he raises his hand to presumably kill him with magic, I guess. But then Alicia goes, no! And like hurls a scarf from across the room, like one of those kung fu scarves that wraps around his arm and pulls his arm away from Ryan. And so as that happens, Ryan escapes with the book. Like he drops off the bed and runs out with the book. And then Alicia is stabbed in the back by the evil chick. She's immediately stabbed and she goes, no one touches my master. And then Komodo yells,
I understand her character.
I think he hurls the evil chick back against the wall, like with the force of his screaming. And I think she dies too there, but we never see her again, so it's unclear.
I don't understand Alicia's character at all.
Yeah, and then all Komodo does is scream, I want him alive! And that's the end of that scene.
But he just wanted him
lots
dead.
To unpack there.
Didn't he just want him dead?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Apparently he was upset that Alicia was killed because he really liked her, but the evil chick killed her, and then he killed the evil chick, so now he's got no one, so...
He's like, I was going to add him to my harem anyway! Bring him back alive!
This scene is bonkers, Danielle. I didn't know that Alicia does one. Alicia, maybe she knows kung fu, but she only demonstrates the power twice. Once when she flies away with Ryan in the wire fu, and once when she hurls the scarf over there. And apparently never uses her kung fu powers before or after.
What an odd character.
And now she's dead. So that's cool.
This movie's not very nice to female characters.
It isn't. And there's only like 1.5 female characters in this movie. All right. So.
That's not the end of the movie.
Not even close. That's actually it's pretty close.
So it's gotta be kind of close.
So we cut to soldiers. They're bringing in prisoners from the village, specifically Rhino Dude and Water Buffalo Man. And Ryan runs in and is like, hey, you guys, help me. And so they break free and start fighting all the soldiers, and chaos ensues. And Ryan is like dodging and running and trying to escape. And then he finally gets out while the other two stay behind and guard his back. And then we cut to the warriors conducting a solemn funeral for Master Chung. And I'm like, this is really the best time for this. Like, you guys, I appreciate you want to show respect for your fallen master, but your whole village and home is being ransacked as you speak. And it's going to kill your entire world.
I think Master Chung wouldn't mind if you put it off for a couple
priorities,
days.
Maybe. All right, then we cut back to Komodo, who has Alicia in the silk bed now. She's dead, just lying there, and he brushes her cheek and looks very distraught.
Weird.
And that's the end of that scene.
Such an odd relationship. I do not understand it.
It doesn't make any sense. I really want you to watch this movie and explain it to me, Danielle.
I'm not sure I can.
So then we cut to Ryan, who is crying in the wood, just sobbing into the book under a tree, going, I don't want to be here. I don't want to see death.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Basically.
I do love how he just proclaims, I don't want to see death. I just want to go home. I'm like, oh boy, that's dark.
That's all of us, really.
Fair. So Mudlap shows up. Ryan is understandably not happy to see him. And he berates Mudlap, and Mudlap's like, hey, look, I just want to help. I swear, I just want to help. Uh-huh. And he's like, I don't want to see you. Get out of here. Go away. And you're only in this for yourself. You don't care about anyone else. You only care about what you can get out of things. And as Mudlap is walking away, he turns back and says, well, the Roos need your help. They're at the temple ruin. And then he leaves. I'm like, where's the temple ruin? What's the temple ruin? Doesn't matter. Ryan seems to know.
Yeah, the kid's only been there 2 days.
If that. So meanwhile, Komodo's men are searching for the Roos and for Ryan, but they've come up empty-handed so far. General Grill's like, we've searched everywhere. And Komodo's like, well, did you find him? Like, no. Then you haven't searched everywhere, have you? I'm like, yeah, good point.
Yeah, that's a valid point. You tell him, Komodo.
So we cut to the temple ruin where Ryan shows up with the manuscript, and he's crying and telling the Roos, I can't read the book. It's empty. I can't read it. And the Roos declare that I'm sick of this. This is our home. Live or die. And then Yoon takes up his sword again. It's like, it's time. And then Ryan looks very upset by this and just whispers, no.
Okay.
Why is he upset by this? I don't know.
Is this one of those things where in order to be able to read the book, he has to believe in himself first?
No.
Okay, good, I guess.
Trust me, how he gets to read the book is much dumber than that.
That's a shame. Why is our version of this better than the actual version?
Because we're not insane. This movie I think is amazing. Because I think our version would be fine, but it'd be very generic and boring.
Sure.
I think their version is insane, and I love it more for that.
That's completely fair.
So we're back with Komodo. He's in the life spring and sitting on a throne, and the Roos show up to confront him. They demand their home back. They're like, Komodo, this is our home. You need to go. And Komodo just goes, woo, 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 woo. Warriors, come out and play. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? I love it. And it's like solid reference to the Warriors. Like, great. But also, his response to them telling him to go is just like make a war cry and then like taunt them. And it's great. Komodo is amazing. I want to watch the entire movie of just Komodo's antics. I would see him just like holding court and like, more bread, please. Bread! He's amazing. I've watched this movie just for him. All right, and then they start to fight. Komodo splits himself into 5 copies of himself to fight each of the 5 warriors.
Wait, how?
Magic, he just does it.
Oh, no.
Just don't ask questions. He also has a big sword. Don't ask questions. Magically split. He has magic powers. We know
These
this.
magic powers are like used sparingly and out of the blue and in very odd ways.
Oh yeah. We need a 5-on-5. Let's make him double 5 people right now. It's fine.
Okay, whatever.
No, it's nonsense. Like, there's no indication he's not just like a wizard, but apparently he is.
No, because like I didn't even remember he had magical powers. That's how little he's used them.
Yeah, because he used them to telekinetically take a book out of someone's hand.
Yeah, I didn't remember that.
And then fight Master Chung with Wire Fu. And then now he's split himself into 5 copies of himself. So,
wild,
stages.
Man. Wild.
And it's a pretty cool fight scene, actually. I really like the choreography as much as I can see it when it isn't blurry or in that weird choppy slow-mo. Meanwhile, Ryan is back in the temple crying into the manuscript going, how can I help the ruse? Just sobbing into the open blank pages of the manuscript.
Do the tears make the words come?
No.
Keep guessing until it happens.
Well, you're about to find out because he hears Master Chung's voice telling him the answer is in him. Suddenly he can read the book. So he just needed a pep talk from the dead Master Chung.
This is as stupid as him being like, you're a weenie, come back here.
It is exactly like that. And so Chung is expositing about how to take a life, you must lose a part of yourself, and you need to use positive Kung, and they're from out of 5 joined together, something like that. And there's like an animated picture on the page, and Ryan's like, I understand that when Komodo killed Chung, he lost his power briefly, but now he has them back. I don't know.
That's the dumbest reveal ever.
And so then he's like, all right, I gotta go help the ruse. And so, cut back to Komodo is fighting the ruse. We see him fighting Yun. He presents himself to Yun. He's like, hey, Yun, are you ready to kill again? And he extends his neck to be killed by Yun. Yun hesitates, and Komodo fights him and knocks the sword out of his hand, and they fight.
Should have just killed him. What's one more? Alicia's dead. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. And then Yen goes, eat this, and shoots little sparks and lights out of his sword that apparently make the Komodo copies disappear.
Okay.
And he's like, all right, we did it. And they're all like, oh, where is he? He's gone. And then Master Chung walks around the corner. Psych, he's not dead.
So he just had magical voice throwing he was using earlier?
So they all rush up to Master Chung like, Master Chung, you're alive!
Is it actually Komodo pretending to be Chung?
And so Chung starts lamenting, Yun, you should have listened to me. This is all your fault. And then he grabs Chung by the throat and starts strangling him. It's Komodo. He turns back into Komodo. It was obvious Komodo. It was always Komodo. Duh. And he's strangling Young. He lifts him up off the ground like Darth Vader would do in the first Star Wars scene. And like, don't go near, he'll break his neck. And then Ryan shows up yelling, hey, remember me? I'm your friend, and I'm proud to be your destiny.
What?
Yeah, I had to write that down verbatim because I don't know what that means, Danielle. I literally just wrote what in my notes because I don't know what is that. And then he tears the manuscript book in half and he yells at the ruse, 5 is 1, positive Kung, do it now! And they're all like, oh yeah, okay, we got it.
Do they all put their hands in on top of each other and go team?
It's almost exactly that.
Yes.
So Komodo attacks Ryan with an energy blast, but while that's happening, he's distracted. The ruse go, the medallions! And they all lift up some medallions they are wearing, which apparently were never mentioned before, and I did not see. And they lift them all up, and they all go, wood, fire, water, metal, earth, heart. Not heart, but it's basically Captain Planet.
That's what I was going to say originally, and I was like, no, they'll never do that.
They did exactly that, Danielle. And they chant and all the medallions light up and there's just energy swirls out of the medallions and it turns this green vortex where green fart gas comes out of it. And it sucks Komodo into it and he vanishes. And they're like, oh, we did it. Yay.
I didn't think of that before. They have magic power medallions they could just put together to defeat all evil and didn't occur to them 5 minutes ago to try
apparently
that.
They needed a kid to run in and yell, quote, 5 is 1, positive Kung, do it now.
So apparently Ryan's entire job in this movie is just to yell complete nonsense that triggers the main characters to, like, go do the thing they need to do.
Yeah, he yells absolute gibberish, and everyone's like, yes, that makes sense. Why didn't I think of that before?
He's like a weird side character that got sucked into a novel that knows how it's going to end, but can't actually tell the characters.
It's exactly right. So the Roos, their lines scattered from the energy blasts of Komodo disappearing, and they sort of lift up and like, did it work? Did we do it? And they're like, oh yeah, he's gone. Like, yeah, we did it.
Yay.
And they find Ryan, who is passed out, hurt but alive, and he comes to, he's like, yeah, we did it. And Ryan passes them a page from the book, which they can all see now. Like, it's apparently just visible to everyone.
Well, he ripped it. Maybe it released the magic.
And it's the one page he was reading earlier where Master Chung was like giving him the explanation. And one of the Roos reads it and explains, Ryan sacrificed himself to save us. Komodo expended his energy trying to kill Ryan with negative Kung. It weakened him. And that's all the explanation that's given for how they defeated Komodo.
Did Ryan try to give up his life to save them?
Maybe. He like distracted Komodo and caused him to attack him. He did not die, so it wasn't much of a sacrifice,
didn't even
if I'm
get
being
that
honest.
badly beaten up.
Yeah, he's just fine. Anyway, so they're giving, like, Ryan a lot of credit that I don't think he deserves throughout this whole movie.
This is like multiple times.
Yeah, yelling at Yun, and they're like cheering, Ryan, yeah, you yelled at Yun, way to go! Anyway, General Grillo shows up with his army, and Yun's like, it's over, Komodo's gone, join us in peace, it's the only way. And then, a beleaguered Komodo wanders around the corner. He's wearing rags, and he's got, like, amnesia, and he's like, I'm lost, I'm trying to find home. And Yun goes, this is your home. And he kind of smiles and goes, ah.
Okay.
And as after all the army sees this, Grillo and all the soldiers, they toss down their weapons as dramatic music swells and golden light fills the air and rain starts to fall.
Magic rain.
And they all cheer because the life spring is alive again. It's coming back to life. It's still alive. I don't know. One or the other. It's either still alive or coming back to life. But magic golden rain.
So Komodo got like sucked into the amulets, but then got sucked back out of the amulets.
He got like sucked into the amulet vortex, which caused him to lose all his evilness and then come back with amnesia and desire to be helpful.
Okay, sure.
It like brainwashed him. I don't know.
Why not?
So the camera lingers and zooms in on Ryan's face, who's lying there, and he sort of passes out again. And we crossed us all off. We're back at the whirlpool, Danielle. Did you forget about the whirlpool?
I did not. That's by far my favorite part.
So we're back at the whirlpool. It's before Ryan attempted to cross the skinny pipe and got splashed into the whirlpool. Chuck says his line about, make like Tom, let's cruise. And Ryan's like, sure, why not? And he tosses the spray paint into the whirlpool, and they leave with Chucky, and Brad is like, what? You wuss? Where you going? And that's when the water deluge comes out of the pipe, the big one is off to the side, and breaks the bridge pipe, just smashes it, trapping Brad on the other side of the whirlpool. And they're all like, oh no, help Brad, how are we going to help Brad? And his friends are just kind of like laughing at him and not really helpful because they're jerks. And that's when Chucky asks Ryan, hey, should we call 911? And Ryan's like, yeah, we should. And they walk off, presumably to go home and dial on the landline because, 97.
They don't have cell phones.
So we cut back to Ryan. He's home. He's in bed. His mom gets back and checks on him. They have some little cute banter. He's like, I love you, Mom.
I missed you so much. I met another girl who her entire family had died, but I missed you more than she missed her family.
And apparently, that's it. I don't know why this is supposed to be such a big emotional reveal, because it wasn't like he was fighting with his mom before. They didn't have any conflict before this.
Right.
I don't know.
I am
anyway,
disappointed that he didn't learn anything in his whirlpool adventure. They didn't teach him Kung Fu. They didn't teach him any kind of, Taoism.
Nope. Well, I mean, maybe they taught him Taoism. Master Chung was talking about Kung and various virtues.
He learned, 101 level Taoism.
Sure.
If you get transported to an entire different reality, you think you'd have a bigger revelation.
You would think. But then he just goes back to bed, but his dog starts, barking, and he notices that there's a jar on his windowsill that's appeared there. It's a cocoon from Ming.
Yeah, okay.
And there's a note inside the lid of the jar that tells Ryan to spread his wings. And he's like, ah. And then starts talking to his dog and says, hey, do you want to hear about my adventures in Tao? The end.
And so, Ming...
Things that never come back.
Ming doesn't ever come back,
never comes back,
but somehow is involved.
Alicia, she might still be alive. She might be dead. She's probably dead. Never mentioned again. Evil chick, also never mentioned again. She's just dead, probably. Or not. Who knows?
I want to know more about Ming.
Ming seems like a way more interesting character, I'll be honest.
What an odd story.
Yeah, it is crazy. Questions, Danielle, about Warriors of Virtue?
No, I asked all of my questions as we went along. I do kind of want to watch the movie, though. I'm going to admit it.
You should watch the movie. It is, like I said, it is fast. It is not that long, and it is cuckoo bananas. It's a lot of fun.
There were so many things they didn't do anything with.
I know. There's so much that just like happened so quick. Also, what I learned, and this might make it more or less interesting, there is a sequel, a direct-to-video sequel
Really?
called Warriors of Virtue: The Return to Tao. It was made in 2002, so 5 years after the original flop.
That didn't stop them from making a sequel.
It certainly didn't. And it stars Komodo's son, Dogon.
He's a son? With who? Was that with Alicia or with evil girl?
I don't know. But the important part is Kevin Smith plays Dogon. And you might know Kevin Smith, Danielle, as Ares from Xena.
Yay!
Here comes the sad part. This was his last film role because he died on set.
That's really depressing.
Like, just as they were finished rapping, apparently, he was either waiting for a cab or something, and he went climbing up on another set in the studio lot and fell off the set and died.
That's very depressing, but I am glad he exists in a sequel to this movie.
I mean, that's the thing. I kind of want to watch it because it sounds insane. I'm sad Kevin Smith died, but I bet he does an amazing job if he is as hammy as our Komodo was.
I particularly liked him as Ares, so I would recommend we do this as a second.
I'm down. I'm down. If I can find it, Danielle, I'm willing to try.
You can find anything, Sam.
Thank you. But yeah, so Warriors of Virtue. My younger self, not the best taste, but enough taste to realize this was fun at least.
I don't know. It sounds totally watchable.
It's very watchable. Like I said, it's so quick that you have barely any time to be confused by anything.
I don't know. I had a lot of time in that recap.
Well, to be fair, my recap is almost as long as the movie, apparently.
Well, thank you for sharing, Sam. Appreciate that.
Again, I want to apologize to all our listeners who know anything about Taoism and my butchering of the concepts and philosophy. If you would like to write in and explain how this movie is actually a genius piece of Taoist philosophy, I would love to hear that because I'd love to understand it a bit better.
Me too. I would love to understand Taoism a little bit more, though, and I feel like the Ruse really lost their opportunity to tell us more.
Yeah.
And I would like, if anybody is interested in having a watch of this part of this film, where Sam dubs in all of the sound. Let us know, because if there is enough interest in that, we will try our best to make that happen.
If we manage to finagle that, Danielle, I'll make that happen. Also, if you want to write in and tell us what your warrior virtue would be, or what Danielle or my warrior virtue might be, that's also an option. Just all kinds of things you can write into us about.
Yes, please let us know what our virtues are. We certainly don't know.
I would love to know. Clearly. So if you want to do that, you can find us at bookretorts.com.
Or you can tweet, Facebook, or Instagram us at bookretorts.
Well, until next time, virtue be with you. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Mine's more like, I know where I'm supposed to end up, and then the goal is to, like, get to that point in the dream. Is that, like, either I defeat the bad guy, or I find the thing, or I whatever. That it takes me, like, the whole dream to get there.
Well, I'm glad you're so goal-oriented in your dreams.
Much more so than in real life.
What about your brain trying to tell you there?